Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Do the verses all together. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nashta Praeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai. So, welcome to this morning's spontaneous Srimad Bhagavatam class. We're going to be reading from Canto 7, Chapter 15, the first 11 verses. So it's a new chapter. It's called Instructions for Civilized Human Beings. And it's Narada Muni speaking to Maharaj Yudhisthira. So, let's read through the verses first. Have a mic. 2 each? Yeah, let's do 2 each. Who's got the mic? Oh, go for it then, please.
Narada Muni continued, My dear king, some brahmanas are very much attached to fruitive activities, some are attached to austerities and penances, and still others study the Vedic literature, whereas some, although very few, cultivate knowledge and practice different yogas, especially Bhakti Yoga. Text 2. A person desiring liberation for his forefathers or himself should give charity to a brahmana who adheres to impersonal monism. In the absence of such an advanced brahmana, charity may be given to a brahmana addicted to fruitive activities. Karmakanda.
During the period for offering oblations to the demigods, one should invite only 2 brahmanas, and while offering oblations to the forefathers, one may invite 3 brahmanas, or in either case, only 1 brahmana will suffice. Even though one is very opulent, he should not endeavor to invite more brahmanas or make various expensive arrangements on those occasions. If one arranges to feed many brahmanas or relatives during the Shraddha ceremony, there will be discrepancies in the time, place, respectability, and ingredients, the person to be worshipped, and the method of offering worship.
When one gets the opportunity of a suitable auspicious time and place, one should with love offer food prepared with ghee to the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then offer the prasad to the suitable person, a Vaishnava or Brahmana. This will be the cause of everlasting prosperity. One should offer prasad to the demigods, the saintly persons, one's forefathers, the people in general, one's family members, one's relatives, and one's friends, seeing them all as devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
A person fully aware of religious principles should never offer anything like meat, eggs, or fish in the Shraddha ceremony. And even if one is a Kshatriya, he himself should not eat such things. When suitable food prepared with ghee is offered to saintly persons, the function is pleasing to the forefathers and the Supreme Lord, who are never pleased when animals are killed in the name of sacrifice. Persons who want to advance in superior religion are advised to give up all envy of other living entities, whether in relationship to the body, words, or mind. There is no religion superior to this.
Because of an awakening of spiritual knowledge, those who are intelligent and regard to sacrifice, who are actually aware of religious principle and who are free from material desire, control the self in the fire and spiritual knowledge, or knowledge of the absolute truth. They may give up the process of ritualistic ceremonies.
Upon seeing the person engaged in performing the sacrifice, animals meant to be sacrificed are extremely afraid, thinking, "This merciless performer of sacrifices, being ignorant of the purpose of sacrifice and being most satisfied by killing others, will surely kill me." Therefore, day by day, one who is actually aware of religious principles and is not heinously envious of poor animals should happily perform daily sacrifices, and those for certain occasions with whatever food is available easily by the grace of the Lord.
Okay, that's the last verse for this section today. Now we're going to go back to text 6, and we'll do the Sanskrit. Starry. Text 6. Devarshi pitribhutebhya Atmane swajanaya cha Anam samvibhajam bhashyat Sarvam tat purushatmakam Devarshi pitribhutebhya Atmane swajanaya cha Anam samvibhajam bhashyat Sarvam tat purushatmakam. Please chant. Okay, let's do the word for word and do this all together as well. Deva, unto the demigods, Rishi, saintly persons, Pitri, forefathers, Bhutebhya, the living entities in general, Atmane, relatives, Swajanaya, family members and friends, Cha, and Annam, foodstuff, prasad, Samvibhajam, offering, Pashyat, one should see, Sarvam, all, Tat, them, Purusha Atmakam, related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should offer, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One should offer prasad to the demigods, the saintly persons, one's forefathers, the people in general, one's family members, one's relatives, and one's friends, seeing them all as devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. As mentioned above, it is recommended that everyone distribute prasad, considering every living being a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Even in feeding the poor, one should distribute prasad. In Kali Yuga, there is a scarcity of food almost every year, and thus philanthropists spend lavishly to feed the poor. For this, they invent the term Daridra Narayan Seva. This is prohibited. One should distribute sumptuous prasad, considering everyone a part of the Supreme Lord. But one should not juggle words to make a poor man Narayan. Everyone is related to the Supreme Lord, but one should not mistakenly think that because one is related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has become the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Such a Mayavad philosophy is extremely dangerous, especially for a devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore strictly forbidden us to associate with Mayavadi philosophers. Mayavadi bhasya shunile hai sarva nasha. If one associates with the Mayavad philosophy, his devotional life is doomed. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All right. So this, in the previous chapter, Narada Muni was outlining the different qualities and activities of different varnas, and he ended the last section talking about brahmanas, right? How the brahmanas are very, they should be accepted as the best within this material world because they're able to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're the counterpart bodies of the Supreme Lord. That the Brahmins, especially those who are preaching, are recognized and worshipped and considered to be the heart and soul of the Supreme Lord. So after glorifying the Brahmins like that, now Narada Muni is going to outline different types of brahmanas. So, so not all Brahmins are created equal. Well, they may be created equal, but they don't all behave, they don't all act on equal levels. So, some of them are householders who are very attached to fruitive activities for improving their material life and for improving the material standard of living in society. And for that purpose, they perform karmakanda sacrifices. So for karmakanda sacrifices, there are very strict rules, and that's what we're seeing here, right? It's kind of surprising. Narada Muni is saying that, when you do this ritual, then, invite only 2 Brahmins, or, in some situations, maybe 3 Brahmins, or 1 is sufficient, but not more than that. Don't have too many Brahmins, don't feed too many people, because otherwise it's going to get elaborate. It's going to become like a whole extravaganza. So the tendency for materialistic people is to make everything a big show, right? They want to do this huge yajna and make a big pomp and circumstance, a big ceremony out of it, and invite tons of people and basically show off their wealth and power and prestige and, mundane religiosity in order to get respect and recognition and admiration from people in general. So Narada Muni is like, no, that's not what this is for. That's not what this is about. And it's also not about killing animals, because in Karmakanda they would do animal sacrifices. So Narada Muni is bringing out this he's saying that one should actually never offer anything like meat, eggs, or fish in the Shraddha ceremony, even if he's a Kshatriya. So according to Varnashram, the Kshatriyas were allowed to eat meat, but he's saying that when it comes to performing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, meat should not be offered. And he says that, he gives a insight into the mentality of the poor animals that are sometimes offered in sacrifices, that they're looking at the performer of sacrifices and they're just thinking, this person is so merciless, that he's unnecessarily killing us. He's ignorant of the purpose of the sacrifice. So Narada Muni is saying, even the animals are more intelligent than the performer of sacrifice who's killing them, because they know the purpose of the sacrifice is not just to kill animals. So he's condemning these performers of ritualistic sacrifices that would kill animals just for the sake of, basically eating them, which is why Buddha had to come to stop all those Vedic yagyas and take people away from the Vedas, because it was becoming so out of hand. So, but in this verse, text 6, that we're focusing on, what Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing is the importance of prasadam distribution. So that's something that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that any sacrifices that are done without the distribution of prasad are considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Right? In that chapter, he's talking about different things like charity in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, austerity in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, and sacrifices in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And he says that if you do some yajna and you don't distribute prasadam afterwards, then the whole thing was just in the mode of ignorance, because you don't understand the purpose of the sacrifice, which is to get the blessings. You want to get the blessings of the Lord, and you want to get the blessings of the brahmanas, and you want to get the blessings of everyone, because everyone, as Narada Muni says in text 6, he says, one should offer prasad to the demigods, the saintly persons, one's forefathers, the people in general, the family members and relatives, and one's friends, seeing them all as devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's not just that we offer prasadam to, or offer respect to, the Brahmins or, exalted Vaishnavas, although of course we do, but we should offer prasadam to everyone, because we should see everyone as a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as related to, right? The word here in the Sanskrit is Purusha Atmakam, which means basically the Supreme Person himself. Because it's a fact, that all living beings are parts and parcels of Krishna. Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Krishna's saying that they're all part of me. Mama Eva Amsha. Mamai Vamsha, that's the breakdown of that word is Mama Eva Amsha. That they are certainly, Eva is like emphatic, certainly all living entities are my Mama Amshas. They're my parts and parcels. They're like rays of their emanations from me, just like the sunshine is, and is also the sun. It's an amsha, it's a ray. Amsha literally means a ray. So, when we see all living entities as parts of the Lord, as ultimately as devotees of the Lord, because that's who every soul is originally a devotee of the Lord, then we'll see everyone as as worthy of our respect, of our worship, and our charity. And we want to give prasadam to them, not only as a way of honoring them, but also as a way of helping them, right? So in ISKCON, when we distribute prasadam, it's a way of sharing love, showing kindness and compassion, and also it's a way of helping these souls to reconnect with Krishna, because prasadam is, by definition, it's the mercy of the Lord. It's Krishna's grace in the form of food, and everybody needs food, right? So, when we give food to people, we don't just give food, but we give the Lord's mercy. So people accept it because they like food. And so this is what Prabhupada would sometimes call our secret weapon, is prasadam. Because many people are not interested in God, they're not interested in spiritual life, they're not going to read a book, they're not going to chant mantras, they won't come to the temple and take darshan. So basically, a lot of the spiritual life is virtually inaccessible to them due to their lack of interest in it. But everybody is interested in eating good food. So if we make really nice, tasty prasadam and offer to people and they eat, then that's helping them. That's their connection to Krishna. That's their lifeline. That, we're like casting the line and we can catch them on the bait of their, just like a fish. Prabhupada says that the fish dies by its tongue because the fisherman puts a worm on the hook, throws it out there, and the fish sees the worm, but he doesn't see the hook underneath. So he goes to eat that worm, and then he gets caught by the hook, and then he gets reeled in, and that's the end of him. The fisherman ends up cooking him up. So in the same way, when we distribute prasadam, we're throwing out some bait, and people don't know that there's a hook. There's a transcendental hook behind the prasadam that when they take prasadam, then they connect with Krishna, and then Krishna gradually reels them in, and their material life is over. Material existence is done. So, and the spiritual life begins. So gradually, by taking prasadam, people get purified, they become elevated, they become eligible for, their hearts open to other processes of devotional service, to learning more. So it's very important here what we're doing. We have Kalachandji's restaurant, and so many nice people are coming every day to take prasadam. And we also have so many, we have a Food for Life program going on. We have prasadam distribution at UTD, little Kalachandji's, what do you call it? Franchise Express, Kalachandji's Express, like Kalachandji's franchise at the university. So students are taking prasadam. And then whenever we do festivals, like Festival of Joy, so much prasadam distribution and like that. So Srila Prabhupada really wanted this. He said we should distribute prasadam. We said one should distribute sumptuous prasadam, considering everyone a part of the Supreme Lord. And not just limit it to certain people, that it's only for the poor, or that it's only for certain classes of people, but everyone and anyone should take prasadam, because everyone is a soul, everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna, and everyone needs that connection. Material nourishment and spiritual nourishment. So, yeah, maybe we can open it up for a little discussion here. If anyone wants to share something about the glories of prasadam distribution, or how you've observed or experienced how prasadam has helped people come to Krishna consciousness, or helped you come to Krishna consciousness, or maybe helped you stay in Krishna consciousness. I know that Srila Prabhupada used to keep this, Srila Prabhupada used to cook gulab jamans for the devotees, and he would keep a jar of them on the windowsill in the 26th 2nd Avenue Temple, and the devotees would say that sometimes they would think of leaving the association of devotees and going back into material life. But on the way out, by the door, there was that jar of gulab jamans, and they would just open up the door and pop a couple of those in their mouth on the way out, and they'd be like, actually, no, I need to stay. Because you don't get this anywhere else but here. Yes, Tulsi Saki.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for a nice class. On the point of how prasadam makes us devotees. So I was living in LA, Culver City, and would go to the Govindas in the LA at the temple. And my friend and I, we would like this sour cream and spinach sabji at the restaurant. And then there was a devotee, Prasadananda, who headed up the...
Prasadananda?
Yeah, Japataka Swami disciple, and his name was Prasadananda, and he headed up the
kitchen.
Didi kitchen. So he was at the restaurant, and I asked him, how do you make the sour cream and spinach sabji? And he was like, you come to the Didi kitchen and help out, and I'll teach you how to make that. And the fact of the matter is that in the deity kitchen, they don't use sour cream. So that was not a preparation that you make at the deity kitchen. But just to rope me in, he was like, you come and help out in the deity kitchen. And then every Saturday, I would go and just cut up cauliflower and green chili. And I was so addicted to that service. The entire week at work, I'd be like, when do I go and cut up cauliflower and then green chili? It was, so special. So that was my way in.
Nice. Yeah, I have a friend, Nandana, and I met her in Gainesville, and she was living in Boston, and when she was young, she was a skateboarder, one of these skateboard kids. So she'd be like cruising around the city on her skateboard, and they would get hungry because it requires a lot of energy to skateboard. And so she found out that and she was a broke student, so she found out that there was free food at the temple, the Hare Krishna temple. So she used to go over there and just eat. Like her friend was like, let's go to the Hare Krishnas and get some food. So she didn't know anything about anything related to Hare Krishna, what it was. She just found out that there was free food there. So she would go with her friend and they would eat. And then after a while, like after some weeks of going there, quite often and getting free food, she started thinking, you know what, like her conscience started, pinching her, like, you can't just like take food, like this is not, it's not good, that you're just taking and going there and eating and leaving. So she started thinking, I should contribute, I should see if I can help out somehow and give back, for reciprocate with their generosity. So then she asked one of the devotees that was serving, she said, I feel kind of bad because I'm just coming here and eating. Is there anything I can do to give back? And then they gradually, asked her to start doing service. And then they told her also it's better if you're going to come and eat because the food is always the prasadam is always after the class. It'll be nice if you can come and sit in the class, and then, that'll make us really happy because it's meant to be a package deal that you hear the class and then you take prasadam. So she started coming for the class, and then she also started doing service, and then she just very quickly became a devotee. and then she started off doing service in the kitchen, and she learned how to cook, and then that just became her service. Like she just became a cook and cooked for the devotees, cooking for the deities, and to this day she's like an amazing cook, and that's her favorite service, is to cook for the devotees, because she feels like because prasadam was what brought her to Krishna consciousness, she wants to bring people to Krishna consciousness through really good prasadam. Yeah.
This class brought up a lot of thoughts. The first thing it brought up for me was the story with Srila Prabhupada. I believe it's in Mayapur, and there were some dogs barking. There was a big commotion going on, and Prabhupada saw that there was some children fighting with the dogs for the trash, basically.
The leaf plates that still had
some prasad.
Yeah.
And I think he told Brahmananda Prabhu that, within like a 10-mile radius or something like that, nobody should go hungry near the temples. And just, Prabhupada's compassion, how he was just such a compassionate heart, wanted prasadam to be distributed so they weren't going hungry. And then I was remembering in my life these different experiences where I saw, like sometimes I would bring like chocolate chip cookies to work. Chocolate chip cookies is kind of like a universal thing. Nobody's generally going to say no to a chocolate chip cookie, right?
Yeah.
Everybody likes those. But I found there were people at work that wouldn't accept them. They would not take them, ever. And I knew them. I'd been working with them for years. We had a good relationship. I would distribute them, and people that I didn't even know, they would take it happily. But there'd be certain people that wouldn't take it, and I just, the power of prasadam, and that just somehow or another, they weren't at a place where they were ready to accept the prasadam and kind of start that journey, and I found that to be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's like it's the Paramatma, because those people are determined to not be spiritual, to not have a connection with Krishna, and so the Paramatma's like, even though they don't even know, even maybe know why they're saying no, but like something inside is telling them, no, don't take that. Because if you take that, you're going to start
be interfering with their free will in some way, and they just weren't ready for that mercy.
Yeah, you're going to be on Krishna's hook.
So I thought that was interesting. And then the last thing is you were talking about Kalachandjis, and just reminded me of some, really nice book distributors come through Dallas, like Parameshwar Prabhu and Paramakaruna Prabhu. And they both said that they feel that Dallas is one of the best cities for them to distribute books.
Mm.
And I think it has a lot to do with Kalachandjis. Many people are coming and eating prasad, and it's kind of, opening them up in that sense. And, I'll be sometimes out and about and I'll say, I'm a Hare Krishna, and the person I'm talking to will say, a Hare what? Like they have no idea what a Hare Krishna is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll say, oh, maybe you've heard of Kalachandjis. And they say, oh yeah, I love Kalachandjis. And so it's kind of like, I feel like it's really softening the hearts of the Dallas, Fort Worth undercover devotees that don't know yet, and opening them up in a gentle way to Krishna.
Yeah, it's a really nice way to attract people because everyone likes to eat. And then, Kalachandjis is very special because it's right here in the same building as the temple. So you see a lot of people that come to Kalachandjis and they'll just, kick off their shoes and come inside the temple room just to have a look around, right? And they'll be like marveling at all the paintings and the just how ornate and beautiful everything is. And even if the curtains are closed, it's like just being in the temple room is like, wow, right? You see people just like, and then if they can see the deities, I see people sometimes they'll come in and they'll just be standing in front of the deities and they don't really have a clue, but they're just like looking like, you can see they're feeling something. They're feeling they're kind of like stunned and don't really know how to react, but they're feeling something.
I just think, the number of people that walk through the door that come to a vegetarian restaurant inside of a Hare Krishna temple, like those two things are quite, rare, and it's amazing. It just biggest prasadam distribution. I was thinking about Baladev Prabhu for many years. Bhakti True Maharaj, he was doing a service for him, doing prasadam distribution. You want to tell some stories?
Actually, we started that project, Rama Bar, in North Carolina, 1999, and then become a booming bar in California. Million of people. The Costco we had a road show over there, so many Costco. Then after that I started this project 2005 in Dallas. And it was struggling, challenging so much. Then finally we got into the Costco. So 17 location in Texas. So I employ the devotees to be in the road show, and there a lot of people just eat the sample, the bar, and where we have a show table and set up the table in the Costco, and immediate people just something different. So sometimes they grab 4 boxes, 3 boxes, 5 boxes. So it was really those a hotcake. 1.5 years we did a road show with the Costco. And after 2008 recession, then some or other I was with the manpower struggling, so then stop. So this looks like this sometimes distributing prasad, attracting people is a long process. Like some individual soul depend, some are special, they're pure, there's some sukriti and past life. So as soon as they got some prasad and Srila Prabhupada books, immediately they jump on and they realize something different. It's something I'm looking. So they got caught with the Hare Krishna movement. But so far, our distribution prasadam is really not that far with response yet. Did not get response so far yet. Because maybe a long process. They have so much lifetime have to go through to become a Krishna conscious. Maybe not our lifetime, maybe another 50 years, the result will come. Anyhow, it's a long process. Bhaishya Prabhu say, just keep the impression. There's no need to be, you have to make them convinced to become a devotee. But it's the times it takes, so it'll be patience. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Prasad is one of dynamic way to Western world to touch the heart. living entity.
Yeah, and Prabhupada said that it saves one from having to take birth in a lower species, right? Even if a person is sinful, if they take prasadam, it's guaranteed human form of life in the next life. So then maybe the people that we're distributing prasadam to now, our grandchildren, will meet them on book distribution and they'll become devotees. You know, it might take some couple of lifetimes. But yeah, that's why prasadam is kind of like a foot in the door, gives people a foot in the door to Krishna, to the spiritual world. But then someone needs to be there, you know, someone needs to receive them. So they need to also meet a devotee, right? They need to actually talk to a devotee and get the mercy of a Vaishnava. So, of course, the prasadam is also, in one sense, the mercy, but there has to be an intention. You know, there has to be like an intention. The devotee needs to intentionally connect with that person. Either verbally, like talk to them about Krishna consciousness, give them the holy names, explain things to them, or at least by prayer. You know, Nectar Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami says that simply by hearing, simply by glancing, or simply by, what's the other thing? There are three things. No, but there's three things that he says that the way that a Vaishnava imparts mercy to another soul. I think it's, one is by seeing, no, that's glancing. Glancing, hearing from, anyways, there's another one. But the idea is that the devotee needs to consciously pray, desire, connect with that soul in a way that gets Krishna to acknowledge and give mercy to that soul, to recognize that soul as a due recipient of his mercy. Understand? So yeah, I always go back to there's this boy, Nick. He used to be Nick. Now he's Nakul. He just got initiated at Sadhu Sangha, but he was a UF student, and he used to come to Krishna lunch when I was in Gainesville. So Krishna lunch, most of it takes place on the University of Florida campus, but then there's also what's called the side porch. So there's like the Krishna house, and then connected to that there's like a little cafe kind of set up with a buffet and some sitting places. So people can either go take Krishna lunch on UF campus, or they can come to the side porch. So during that, there was one summer where my service was at the side porch. I was like, you know, taking donations and giving prasadam there. So there was this boy who used to come pretty much every single day, and his name was Nick. And he was like very friendly, nice, bubbly, you know, straight-laced American kid, you know, clean cut, intelligent. And so he would come and he would get his lunch, and we wouldn't say anything to him about Krishna, because that's how we're trained there to do the serve out, is that, you know, don't try to preach to them, just be friendly, right? So I'd be like, hey, Nick, how's it going? And then he would tell us, you know, his exams are coming, or, you know, my cat's sick, or whatever. He would just, whatever was going on in his life, he would tell us, and we would just talk. You know, we just converse, shoot the breeze with him. And then as soon as he would leave, myself and Premamrita, we were working together there. Premamrita would say, oh, Nick is such a nice boy. And I'd be like, yeah, he's such a sweetie. And then we were like, Nick should be a devotee. He has to be a devotee. And then we were like, let's just like intensely pray to Krishna for Nick to be a devotee. So every single day he would come, and we would just talk about whatever mundane stuff, you know, make conversation with him. And as soon as he would leave, we would be like, dear Krishna, please help this boy come to Krishna consciousness. Can't you see what a sweet person he is? He has such a nice, gentle, pure heart, and he's very kind, and he has all the qualities. He just needs to connect with you. Please give him your mercy. Please make him Krishna conscious. And yeah, and then one fine day, Nick came to one of our programs, like Taco Tuesday or something, and he was like really interested, and then he started asking us questions, you know, about the philosophy and chanting, and then he started asking he said, I can't come to your programs, but I would like to learn how to do the mantra meditation. Can I come on this night? So then he would come like on an off night, And then Janaki and I would be there to receive him. We'd sit him down in the temple room and we'd give him some beads and we taught him how to chant and all. And then gradually Nick just started getting really fired up about Krishna consciousness and coming and practicing and chanting. And then he moved into the ashram. He was there in the ashram for a semester. That was his last semester at UF. And then he really got attached to Krishna consciousness. He wanted to stay in the ashram, but he had already lined up an internship in New York. So we connected him with Bhakti Center and Brooklyn Temple, and then he moved in the ashram in Brooklyn Temple, and then he's still there. And then he just got initiated at Sadhu Sangha. It's really so it started with prasadam. So this is it's kind of like a good case study of what's required to make someone a devotee, I guess. There's different ways it can happen, but it started with prasadam. So he started coming, and then but what it took was for some devotees to really intentionally give mercy to that person, intentionally pray, for this person and cause Krishna's mercy to flow in that direction. Because we were hearing, in the 9th canto in the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni, it talks about how Krishna says, he makes this very astonishing statement. He says, I am not at all independent. I'm completely under the control of my devotees. And there in the purport, Prabhupada talks about how when Krishna says he's not independent, it means that he's not independent in deciding who his mercy will go to. Who decides who's going to be the recipient of his mercy is the devotees. So if a devotee kind of pinpoints someone and says, Krishna, I want this person to be the recipient of your mercy. And really intensely desires that and prays for it and, appeals to Krishna, please give this person your mercy, even though they may have done nothing, even though you may consider them unworthy. I'm asking you, I'm beseeching you, please give your mercy to this person. Then Krishna's mercy is going to go to that person. And then the person's heart is going to open and they're going to, whatever qualifications they were missing, which were making them ineligible for bhakti, those qualifications will be there. They will become qualified by the mercy of a devotee. So that principle also comes up in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 28, where Krishna says that only those who have acted piously in this life and previous lives, whose sinful reactions are completely finished, who are free from the dualities of delusion, only they can take to devotional service with determination. So in the purport, Prabhupada says that, it's actually a very high bar to perform bhakti yoga, especially with determination to keep going throughout one's lifetime. And you have to have done so many pious activities, you have to have done no sinful activities, you have to be free from all your sinful reactions. It means you have to have done all these, prayaschita, atonements and all these things. And free from duality means you practically have to be on the transcendental platform already to begin devotional service, which is kind of the standard, right? Devotional service begins from the transcendental platform. But Prabhupada says that, he says, this is all true, however, there's another way. He says that by association with a devotee, all of these requirements can be met. If you get the mercy of a devotee, and he says, therefore, devotees travel all around the world. He's basically describing himself. Therefore, devotees travel all around the world just to give their association and give their mercy to people so that they can become qualified to perform bhakti. So, that's all of us who are chanting rounds, who are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, who are worshipping the deity and doing service. We actually have that power to be able to direct Krishna's mercy towards fallen conditioned souls. And so we need to use that to help people to become devotees. And give them prasadam, give them that connection, and keep distributing to draw them in through their stomachs, right? Even in mundane circles it says the way to a person's heart is through the stomach. So we catch them by the stomachs, and then we first draw them in by the stomachs, and then we touch the heart. By praying for them, by connecting them. Yes.
You were doing the third one, that by his heart felt concern or mind is the third one.
Heartfelt concern.
Yeah, through the mind, the devotee can give the mercy.
Thinking of the person.
Yeah, thinking of the person.
Okay, yeah. So by
Glance.
by glance, by thinking,
By words.
by words. Oh yeah. Okay, by words. So speaking to the person, by glancing, giving them a merciful glance. Right, like Prabhupada had that merciful glance. Prabhupada's disciples would talk about how when Prabhupada looked at you, you just felt like you were just like pushed up to the spiritual platform. And then by thinking. Yeah, so just thinking about, meditating on the person. And there's one verse where Prabhupada says that he talks about the turtle, right? That a turtle, sea turtles, they lay their eggs on the beach and then they go out into the water and that's it. They're done. That's their parenting. But he says that the eggs hatch and the babies are kind of on their own. They have to make their way to the sea and all that. But Prabhupada says that the turtles actually raise their offspring by meditation. So it's not that the mother turtle just lays her eggs and goes away and forgets about them, but she's constantly thinking about them. She's meditating on those eggs and the time, and she knows when the eggs are going to hatch, and she's meditating on them and praying, okay, my little baby turtles, you got this. Get out of that sand and get to the ocean. It's not this way, it's that way. And she's like, in her meditation, she's like empowering them to be able to cross the hot sand and get to the sea and, like that. So just thinking. Yeah, actually one thing, I was talking to Kalakantaru because he's an initiating guru in ISKCON, and he's always encouraging senior devotees to be initiating gurus. And he said, it's not that easy. It's not that difficult to be a guru. You just need to think about your disciples. You just sit there and you spend some time just thinking about them and praying for them, and in that way they benefit so much. Krishna's mercy flows to them just by your thinking about them. So I thought that was very interesting, and it goes along with what we're saying, that. So first of all, we think of people in a general sense that we don't just stay absorbed in our lives, but we're thinking about the welfare of all living entities. We're thinking about how we can benefit them somehow spiritually. And then one really effective way is prasadam. So, but after giving them a plate of food, every person who comes into the restaurant, when they leave, whoever served them or met them, conversed with them, said hello to them, should think about them a little bit. Just spend 5 minutes thinking about that person and praying for them. And there'll be a big difference. Baladev wants to say something. Go ahead.
I was thinking that boy, how was infected by your prayer. So this is really a strong process. What are you saying? That preaching philosophy, telling the philosophy, intellectual level is not really good enough. It's really the turtle example he gave. This really affects so much, because when sincerely pray for other conditions, so with a compassion, Krishna really listen that prayer. So preacher should be the mood. Thank you for sharing that part, how that boy become a devotee. It is Srila Prabhupada says the contagious, like prasad like a contagious. It's like coronavirus. Like you get something they eat on someone's plate, that then you get disease. Develop same disease he
you get
has.
Infected with Krishna consciousness.
So same thing. If prasad they give, that is get. Prabhupada give very strong analogy on that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, that should be part of the training for the restaurant staff, right?
Should be added.
and
that
you
part
need to pray
should
for
be.
every person. They pay, you pray.
So Rupamrita Sindhu is over here. So I will request that the restaurant is not our goal actually. Our goal, we started how they become a devotee. So I think that one part should be, we add some or other, we will nicely deal with them, telling them nicely to come back again. Not like commercial, okay, you pay, you eat, you pay and go. So this way, and then prayer. I think Prabhupada Mataji can be a good right person. She has experience with it. Thank you.
Okay, we better wrap it up. Or did you want to say something to say? Okay, so it's 8:35. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam